Welcome in. We are the Bourbon Brothers, and this is the Liquid Courage Show. We have a fantastic show on deck for you tonight. But first, let me welcome in the other half of the Bourbon Brothers team, my partner in crime, the man holding things down all the way out in the great state of Pennsylvania. Ken, how the hell are you tonight?
Great. I'm doing well. I'm really looking forward to doing the show tonight.
I am too. I've been looking forward to this all week. So let's just jump in. If you're new to the show, the format is simple. First, we kick things off with a tasting and a discussion of a spirit, usually a bourbon, and we will continue to enjoy said spirit throughout the remainder of the show. As for the remainder of the show, we will focus on a specific episode of a favorite television series where we start with the pilot and work our way through episode by episode to the series finale. Tonight, we will be discussing Season 1, Episode 7 of Kurt Sutter's Sons of Anarchy. The episode is titled Old Bones. For those of you that are watching the show on YouTube, I want to let you know that we publish this show in 3 parts. You're currently watching Part 1, so you're in the right place, and that'll cover the bourbon tasting, and then Parts 2 and 3 will be the discussion of the episode. So please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a single episode. Also, if you don't want to look at our ugly mugs, or you prefer to listen in the car or at the office, I guess when you can go back to the office, you can also subscribe to the podcast version of the show, and you can find that at iTunes, Stitcher, and about 14 other places where your favorite podcasts are found. Also, we want to hear from you. Send us your praise, your questions, your hate comms. Let us know how we're doing, what you like, what you dislike, and what you'd like to see more of. You can leave your comments in the comments section of the show, or you can email your questions to us at ask@bourbonbros, that's BROS.TV. And if your question doesn't suck, we might even answer it on a future show. And with that out of the way, let's kick this show off. Ken, what are we drinking tonight?
Well, last week we selected it. If anyone watched the show prior to this one, we selected Eagle Rare Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Eagle Rare. Now, this is, I don't think they necessarily broadcast it on the bottle, but I believe this is a 10-year bourbon. And I believe this is the one that we referred to in a previous show that kind of competes head-to-head with the Russell's Reserve 10-year.
Yes, that's right. Now, I've had this before, as you can tell. This one as well. This one's too has been in my cabinet, so I have it ready. Looking forward to refreshing my memory as to its flavor. And I have a block of ice here. I'm ready to go when you are.
All right, excellent. Well, why don't you start pouring, because mine already is poured. It's ready to go.
Okay.
And while you get that poured, give a little bit of background. So Eagle Rare comes out of Buffalo Trace Distillery. As we said, it is a 10-year aged bourbon. Release date is ongoing. This is a 90 proof, as is the Russell's. So again, they're exact same proof, aged for 10 years. Interestingly enough, the mash bill is undisclosed, but it is believed to be the Buffalo Trace mash bill number 1, the same that you'll find in Buffalo Trace, just aged to 10 years. And actually, I believe just a couple other notes on that. The number 1 mash bill from Buffalo Trace is thought to be a low rye mash consisting of 10% or less rye.
10% or less rye. Okay.
And I think every time we raise a glass, it's nice to have some great flowery marketing speak. So I'll give you their summary and then we'll raise a glass. On their website, they describe Eagle Rare Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey is masterfully crafted and carefully aged for no less than 10 years. The rareness of this great breed of bourbon is evident in its complex aroma, as well as the smooth and lingering taste. Eagle Rare is a bourbon that lives up to its name with its lofty, distinctive taste experience.
Wow, there's a marketing line for you.
I already like it better, just hearing all of that wonderful marketing speak. All right, should we raise a glass?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. Complex aroma, John. I'd agree.
And I'm enjoying a quite distinctive taste experience.
Well, They're not lying.
I I actually like this quite a bit.
It does kind of linger. It's getting warmer over time, for me anyway.
It's got a really nice flavor. I get some sweetness.
It's not too
It's
strong,
not,
not too oaky. Not too oaky.
yeah, it's not too hot. Um, and again, I think we're both drinking it on ice, which helps, but I would have to try it without, but I think a little water or a little ice actually helps open up this bourbon.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Well, I'll give you just a few fun facts here. There's not a whole lot of great lore or mystery with this bourbon, but this used to be a single barrel bourbon, and they removed that statement from the bottle. You could make the argument that it still is a single barrel bourbon, but Buffalo Trace went to a high-speed automated bottling line, and with that, there's always the possibility that remains of a previous bourbon could be in the lines of that manufacturing equipment and could possibly commingle with the single barrel bourbon. And so for that reason, they have removed the age statement. But if you take the manufacturing equipment out of it, it is a single barrel bourbon.
Okay. They have to do that to comply.
Yeah. And I think they want to be transparent and honest, which I appreciate. I'm also, one of the things I found in my research that I'm now experiencing firsthand as we taste it is known that despite the 10-year aging, Eagle Rare has a reputation of being considered a sweet bourbon. And I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's definitely a sweet bourbon. Do you know when this product was introduced?
I do, which surprised me. I think it's likely that the bottle has changed, which is why I didn't necessarily recognize it as far back as I remember. But the bourbon was introduced in 1975, well before we were of legal drinking age.
Yeah, and that's older than I thought it would be.
Yes, and in March of '89, the Sazerac company acquired Eagle Rare from Seagram. And so back then, the distillery in Kentucky was known as the George T. Stagg Distillery, and you can still get George T. Stagg bourbon, but they've renamed the distillery Buffalo Trace, which is much more well known now. And considering this is a 10-year age bourbon, and I think I paid roughly $33 for the bottle. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Most would consider this a very tasty, but also a great value 10-year bourbon.
Yeah, I mean, I can't recall what I paid for it, but it's probably in the mid 30s, low 40s range.
Yeah, so if you think about filling a bottle with bourbon and having it lay down for 10 years before it bottles, $30 seems like a respectable price.
Yeah,
for that.
Taking up some real estate, so
yeah,
seems pretty reasonable.
And as I sit here, maybe it's just where I'm at today and where my taste buds are, but I really am quite enjoying this, and they've got the hardware to back it up. The Eagle Rare has won a ton of awards in spirit competitions.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely hitting home with me. So where is Buffalo Trace?
It's in Kentucky. Yeah, it's going to be one of the stops on our bourbon tour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and Buffalo Trace has some really good bourbons and some that are very hard to find. In fact, I procured a Buffalo Trace bourbon today that I have been looking for quite some time, which is the Blanton's small batch bourbon. You'll find this is very difficult to find. A lot of places mark it up. I've not opened it yet and tried it. I'm saving it and hoping that we'll be able to cover it on a future show. But I've been hunting for it, and it's very difficult to find. And the prices are sometimes marked up more than double. But that comes out of Buffalo Trace Distillery as well. So there's some good bourbons to be found there. And I think when we hit the bourbon trail, when Tom Jones, What's New Pussycat, isn't playing 21 times in a row everywhere, and we can actually go and visit the bourbon trail, that is a must stop.
Yeah, it's getting so old.
I'd like to enjoy the bourbon a little bit longer. Should we stall by hitting the mailbag and answering a few questions that don't suck?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we have a question from Chuck T, who asks, how do you choose which bourbon you're going to have? Are you paid or provided the bourbon for free? Which
Good question.
Number one, Chuck obviously has not watched or listened to our intro video that explains what this show is about, because I think we actually answer that question in there. But
We do.
You want to take this one, Ken?
Yeah, we are not being paid by anyone for any part of this show, but we're more than open to accepting such offer if it's extended to us. Let's leave it at that.
Yes, absolutely. As I say in the intro video, we have no affiliation with any bourbon company, brand, distillery. We have no affiliation with Hulu, Kurt Sutter, or Sons of Anarchy. And we have no experienced or discernible talent to do a show like this, but we're doing it anyways. And so Ken and I will actually decide what bourbon we're going to try, and then each of us have to go out, find the bourbon, and buy the bourbon. We can't even share the same bottle because of Tom Jones, What's New Pussycat, being played 21 times in a row. And I can't travel, you can't travel. You're in Pennsylvania, I'm in California. So literally every bourbon we try on this show, we've purchased 2 bottles out of our own pocket.
So a question for Chuck T would be, if you have any bourbons you'd like us to procure to try on our future show, send us your suggestions, and we'll, within reason, we'll pick it up.
Or Chuck can just send us 2 bottles of bourbon.
Oh, that's even better.
And we'll be happy to have it on the show. Yeah, this is really just a long-winded way of saying we really need people to start giving us free bourbon, because this is going to get expensive in a hurry. We've got 92 episodes to cover and a lot of bourbon to try, and this is going to get expensive in a hurry.
We need some help.
Next question, Sarah S. asks, why Sons of Anarchy? And again, Ken, Sarah didn't watch the intro video either.
Right, because that's also in there.
I guess we never actually said why, other than that we both liked the show, but we never really dug into the why. There's a lot of shows we could have chosen. There's a lot of shows we actually debated quite heavily before settling on Sons. There's more shows we'd like to be doing right now in addition to Sons. There's a lot of great shows out there. Is there a specific reason we ultimately landed on Sons?
You know, I think it's just one of the first series that you and I really deeply discussed when we were able to get together and watch and raise a glass. We compared notes. Going back, I think that was one of the first series that we discussed.
Yeah,
and
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is great. Like
it's well written. It's a great series. One of my favorites.
It is, and I think it's one of those series where it's kind of that perfect storm. It's great subject matter, right? It's fun. It's great writing. It's great casting. It's great acting. Like everything about it, it's lightning in a bottle. And what I think kind of put me over the top in my mind was how active the fan base still is for this show. Theo Rossi, who played Juice, and Kim Coates, who played Tig, they've got their own YouTube show talking about what it was like to make Sons of Anarchy, which is fantastic if you haven't checked that out. Kurt Sutter still right now is answering questions on Twitter about the show. There's such a big, loyal fan base, and it's not on the air anymore. And so we thought this would be a great way to rekindle that love affair and an opportunity to either give people that love the show an excuse to go back through it with us, or for other people to discover it that maybe didn't know about it when it was first on the air.
Right. So Sarah, yeah, we understand this isn't a new show by any means. It's 12, 13 years old
Yes.
at this point, but it just hits home with both of us. So that's why we selected it.
So that's going to do it for part one. Next, we're going to get into our discussion of Sons of Anarchy. And we are on season 1, episode 7, titled Old Bones. One final reminder, please like and subscribe. Check out our channel for more shows. But most importantly, if you'd like to join us, top off your glass and come along for part 2. It's all coming up next on the Liquid Courage Show. Stay with us.